Aloha everyone in Cyberworld. Welcome back to another of our videos. I'm Richard.
And I'm Jennifer. Welcome to our channel called Poor Man's DIY.
This week we introduce our video from the Dole Pineapple Plantation. So welcome to our little closet. As you can see, I've got nothing in here. The plan is to add some shelves and a little bar to hang clothing on. I was actually thinking about possibly putting the shelf up real high, making use of the space up top, and then putting in 2 bars, in which case you will have 2 levels of clothing that you can hang. But first of all, before we can do that, we got to take some measurements. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different from what you often see in closets and on YouTube. A lot of times what you will find is a single wooden board, a flat, maybe 1x3 or so, that they will mount along the walls, and then they just lay a piece of wood on top of that. Although that's fine, I've been in apartments over the years and have had similar type setups, but over time when you put weight on that single wood that's just sitting there, it begins to warp. We're going to do something just slightly different and go a little bit above and beyond on the shelf. It's just, instead of putting just a flat board on there, underneath the board we're going to put maybe a 1x2 or 1x3 support beam underneath, so that it helps prevent from warping in case we put too much weight on it. So let's take a look at how we're going to do this.
Mr. Poorman is now cutting the wood down to size. Although he won't admit it, his favorite part is sanding.
Today I get a chance to do something I don't get to do often lately, and that's painting with my spray gun.
So we put up our painting tent and went to town.
We just finished painting, and so while the paint is dry, we're going to start putting up the rods for hanging the clothes. Now we're going to be using a heavy-duty metal rod, and we're going to hang those up using these parts here. If you notice, one part is just a solid round while the other has a U on it. The idea behind this is one side will have this in, the pole gets put in directly on there, and on the opposite side the pole will just plop on down there and hold in place. So we got to measure these out so that we're going to go across, and what we're going to do here is we are going to put up 2 rails so that we have double space for clothes hanging. In order to put this up on the wall, it doesn't have a stud behind this, so obviously if you hang a lot of clothes, it's going to get pretty heavy. So we need to make sure that we have something real secure in here. So we're going to put in some supports first. These are designed to carry, I think, 50 to 75 pounds, but I've got a couple other ones. Between those, this should be more than enough to hold the rod up. We begin by drilling a little pilot hole.
I don't have the proper tools, so I'm going to have to cut this old school.
Okay, so now we're going to install some braces right along here. I've pre-drilled holes and some screws. All right, so we just finished putting in the shelf up here. We plan on putting in a brace on the bottom of this. However, I couldn't put it in advance. If I did so, I wouldn't be able to get the shelf up in this really tight area. If you could take a look over here, this corner is real tight, so I won't be able to put this shelf above it and then drop it down. So we put up wood just as is, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But before then, we're now going to install the rods.
Now to install the support beam that we talked about earlier. So here's our completed project. We hope you like it. What we're going to do is use it for actually winter items that we store in Hawaii, even though it's 80 degrees all years round. We still have things like jackets and long sleeve shirts and sweaters that we can put on up on this bar, and then I'll put Richard's stuff down here.
Okay, one thing I would like to point out, it might not be as noticeable, but there's a bunch of screw holes in here that I did to put the braces up. Unfortunately, I planned on covering those with screw hole covers, which are simply just round circle stickers that you place on top of screw holes that'll actually blend it into the actual wood here. In this case, it's white. I do have some screw hole covers. Unfortunately, they're all wood shaded. I thought I had some white ones, but I don't. So I just have to order those, and we'll get to cover those up, and it'll make that look considerably better. But overall, we're really happy with this. And like I said, we now have 2 layers worth of stuff that we can use.
So until we meet again,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Here you go, honey. Get to work.